JB here. JB here. Hope everyone's doing outstanding. Wednesday, July 22nd, 325. Let's Friday afternoon talk really quick about the markets. Some of the names I'm looking at go from there. S&P up at highs here, pretty much right at all-time highs. SPY's at 619.95. Who would have thunk it? I guess thunk it's not a word, but it doesn't matter in these days. Uh, it's like the trading range since noon has been almost like 0.1% trading range. Just remarkable stuff considering everything we've been through. I mean, just a week and a half ago, World War III was starting, right? So um, yields are actually higher. The dollar, which was stronger, is kind of flat and doesn't matter, right? Earlier today, you had POTUS saying that the U.S. has struck a deal with Vietnam. It didn't look like the terms were as good as one would hope in regards to the tariffs for products coming in from Vietnam, because a lot of goods from retailers come in are manufactured in Vietnam and then import into the U.S., right? So kind of wish that those would be down, but who knows the whole details, but at least that kind of has at least taken some uncertainty out of some of the things, and we can move on there. Tomorrow's the big day, right? We have it's a half session, and we have the jobs report, the June jobs report. You already have, I think it was Goldman Spectacular saying expect lower than expected jobs number tomorrow. I mean, who who would think otherwise? I mean, I've been waiting for the weaker than expected jobs number for the last 2 months at least. And the instant it comes in, maybe it comes in negative or some big surprise, the Bears gonna be out pounding their chests saying, "We told you so. This is just relief rally." All waiting for the next shoe to drop. And then maybe they're right. I'm not gonna sit here and be naive or ignorant to possibilities. Right? There's always possibilities that the market is not we've topped out. Right? I don't think that's the case just yet. But we are at 620 on the SPY. I've been saying 620 for at least the last 3 or 4 weeks. Finally hit that about right at 3 o'clock, almost right at the 3 o'clock hour. And now maybe some churn here. I mean, it's just a good sign that we're holding. It's like it's just like consolidation. I guess we're intraday consolidation just to see that chop. Of course, I would love to see a breakout and a rally another 1% here, but I think that bodes well into tomorrow, and then hopefully get decent out. Even if it's a little weaker than expected, I think that's a good thing because then it just gives more uh, ammo for at least to be a little more dovish for Powell. And then Powell can kind of like save face, right? You have two sides of what's going on with Trump and Powell. You got the one side where Trump says you got to cut rates 1%. Rates should be substantially lower, and you're going to be fired. You're going to be replaced. You're going to be like a lame duck. They're going to already have a acting, a Fed chair ready to set up to get into place, and they're going to kind of like use that person as a figurehead, I guess you call it. I don't know what their plans are, but it seems like that's the route it's going. And then you have Powell, who's kind of got to like do his job of trying to remain independent, try not let outside forces influence his decisions, things like that. But now, if we get a little weaker jobs report, the economic data has been strong outside of that. Maybe and the inflation has been good. Maybe that just opens the door for the Fed to be at least September, right? So that'd be hope there. All right, so that's kind of overall markets. Also, small caps up another 1% here today. Just hopefully that's the next taking the baton. It would be nice to see continued strength in that sector. All right, so now just individual names. It's been one of those harvesting days, right? I wish I was harvesting in more positions than just the ones I traded, but an awesome open to the day. Reddit, which, at times yesterday and day before, I'm like, should I have closed all my calls? And then sure enough, what does it do? It spikes, doing what Reddit normally does, an opening spike and run all the way up to 165, just a monster move. So I went and closed some more of the calls out for over 100%. And then, I'm sitting here. It kept going. I closed more out for over 300%. And then as the morning went on, I'm like, this is going to be a similar setup that Reddit has done time in and time out. It's going to pull. And sure enough, it did back under 160. So it was like 161 or so. Like, let me close the rest out. So close the rest out for over 200%. And then I can revisit as opposed to trying to hold on again and then wanting to see a bounce tomorrow. And again, tomorrow's a holiday shortened trading session. This market's only open at 1 o'clock. Definitely a name I'll revisit. I don't know if I'll revisit tomorrow. I thought 165, and you take a look at a weekly chart on Reddit, that kind of looks like a good spot where, hey, maybe it's short term resistance, and then if you can find consolidate a little bit, maybe it heads higher in the next couple of weeks. But for now, finally, a nice trade down Reddit. And then Apple, boom, right out of the gate, all the way up to 213 before the 10 o'clock hour. Similarly, of course, my 212.50s were over $2. I don't even want to look what they are right now. I mean, obviously they're not that because premium have come out as time decayed. But got a chance to close some of those calls. I got the 220s I got for nearly 100%, and then I went and got some of the 230s for July 18th. Uh, those are slightly in the red now. I got to go check, but I'll just continue to hold those two. And already locked into 212.50s for nice gains. So Apple has been a nice trader so far this week. And then you look at the chart. I mean, I just think it's headed to 220 plus. I don't know if it's going to happen quickly or is going to take its time, but I think it's kind of like as the sentiment kind of turns positive and the stock starts to turn a little more and people get a little more positive outlook, I think it just melts higher. So unfortunately, probably not going to be the easiest hold because it might take its time over the next couple of days, but I'll continue to hold that one. I think it heads much higher in the coming days. And then PayPal, another one of those hard ones to hold. I mean, I was looking at the chart since it was 70.71 on that stable coin was stealing all the headlines. I thought, wow, here's one of the names that got sold off, like unwarranted sell off, in my opinion. And then finally, it's starting to bear fruit all the way up to the 200-day moving average at 76. It hit 76.86, right? The 200-day moving average is 76.81. Found pressure, sure enough, all the way back down to 76 until the 2 o'clock hour, and here it's bouncing. Maybe tomorrow's the day that it finally breaks and holds that 200-day moving average. So thankfully, able to get some of the calls out for 100% to cover costs, and then I'll just ride the rest. I was looking for some other strikes, but I'm like, the two things going to happen. It's either going to be flat, right, or it's going to be, or it's going to break out. And I'd prefer not to be adding more strikes just yet. If it's flat, I already have a position right in freebie, so that's how I'm going to trade it. So nice one there on PayPal. Who else do we have here? Oh, then Restoration Hardware. So that, gosh, since mid-April, I've been talking about the possibility of some deal with Vietnam spiking Wayfair, particularly because Wayfair has been a nice trade since the start of April, and then RH. And then sure enough, I'm watching all sides spikes at about 10:15. It was sitting at 203, goes all the way up to 212. Used the move to close some more of my 220 strikes or 600%. I held the last few. Uh, just because you have to think the certainty now with the Vietnam deal kind of removes some speculation that maybe things could get worse for RH. And I think 35 or 40% of their furniture and furnishings are produced in Vietnam. And they already have a large inventory. So they've already kind of like prepared for tariffs. And I think if it comes in less than expected, I think it just bodes well. Not only that, I think it should be trading north of 230 anyway since it's earnings. So locked some more weeklies in, and then I went and got some July 18th strikes. The only issue with those, their premiums are insane. But when you take a look at a name like RH, it has volatile swings, and it takes a 5 or 7% move in the next couple days, and my calls will be up a double and some. So I think the news is just the start of a melt upward to its gap levels of 230. So I'll continue to hold those strikes and then lock some in on the way up. Didn't really talk too much about VKTX in the chat room here today. It's like stuck between 26 and 28 since April. Their data's coming, right? So their venture phase 2 oral GLP-1 study, which started in March, the data is going to come out. They say the second half of this year. I wish they said the third quarter of this year, just to alleviate any concerns that the data might come out, that it'll come out within a quicker period of time frame. But the thing is, if you take a look at the last time they did their study, their enrollment for phase 1 of the study, the time frame between completing enrollment to the time they released the data was 127 days. So if you take 127 days from their March enrollment news where they enrolled the phase 2 study for the next round, you add that together, that gives you July 31st. So that's the only reference point I have is, okay, it took 127 days from last time from enrollment to data. Hopefully we get the same kind of time frame and the data is out July 31st or August 1st, somewhere in there. But really like the VKTX, I mean, obviously, it's got to break $30. It doesn't break $30. It's been chopping around. Every time it looks like it wants to break out 28, 29, 30, it gets hit and then it's back down to 26, then back up to 29, 28, then back down to 26. One of these times you hope it breaks and runs. And then the other possibility, I still have the July 40s. Hopefully that data comes out before before the end of the month, right? Before expiration and, positive data, I think the thing soars. So that's VKTX. Still have Dell's up, recouping some of the losses from yesterday. It's up about 1.6%. Still, still have a couple of the 130s and those freebie 140s. D- Serve is back over 11 bucks, only up 1% here today. I wish with the small caps rallying for the second session in a row that would be higher, but it's not. Joby, nice day here. It's up nearly 4.5%. I think that's only a matter of time before it breaks. It's probably going to take a couple days for it to really consolidate, and then boom, off to the races over 12 bucks. I'm trying to think of some of the other names I'm looking at. I mean, Lemonade frustrating. Had the opening gyrations down to 41.80, all the way up to 43.50, back down to 42, and then it's been chopping around. I mean, still down 2% here, but it's still, all things considered, typically when it's been on these runs and then started to sell off, it would be substantial pullbacks. That hasn't been the case. So I think it still heads north of 50 in the coming week or two. And yeah, that's it, folks. Earnings. So earnings season doesn't kick off till the following Tuesday. So not this Tuesday coming up, but the next Tuesday. And it's the banks, right? Usually the banks kick it off on a Friday, but I think maybe the holiday tomorrow and this weekend uh, screw up the calendars a little bit. But that'll be fun. And that's it, folks. Let's have a great day. I'll be back rock and roll.